Chaque semaine, l'Extra Interview accueille un invité surprise pour explorer ses amours cinéma et séries. Aujourd'hui, c'est une femme pour qui l'art est au centre de tout qui nous rend visite. Anna Rothschild, membre éminente de la Tate Gallery, documentariste et auteure de l'improbabilité de l'amour, nous parle des séries qui ont forgé son écriture et des films devant lesquels elle a grandi.
We didn't have a television until I was about 8 or 9. And then on Sunday afternoons, they used to have called a Sunday afternoon matinee. And we weren't actually allowed to watch television except on Sunday afternoons. So I grew up watching these incredible black and white films. So, for example, you know, all of John Ford, and there were endless kind of country and western movies on Saturdays. And so that was Billy Wilder, and all those great directors were shown on Sunday afternoon. So that was my first introduction.
I've taken many sentences from your book. One of them, one shouldn't live without music. Does it apply to you for cinema as well?
I think I could, but I wouldn't want to.
What are the movies you couldn't live without?
I think in terms of humour, I think about the films of Billy Wilder. So I think of things like Some Like It Hot, and then I think of those things like Bringing Up Baby and all those with Cary Grant and all those wonderful Hollywood black and white kind of comedies. And then I think in terms of the kind of grand scale, you know, I love the Italians like Bertolucci or Antonioni, and things like, you know, do you remember that film called The Leopard? I think that was, who directed that? Visconti. Yeah. You know, I think there's something about the Italians and their kind of grandeur and the way that they invert things, which is incredibly exciting. So that helped me to think on a kind of broader scale, if you like.
In your book, I don't remember the exact sentence, but you said that paintings own memories. When you think about a movie, is all your past stuck in it, or something like that?
It's like anything, you know, you read a book at 20, you read it at 30, you read it at 40, etc., and it means something different at different times, and cinema is rather the same. For example, if I take recently, now Gone with the Wind, you know, Gone with the Wind was a film which I watched when I was very, very young, and I was Scarlett O'Hara, you know, there was no doubt about it. I was absolutely everything, and everybody else was nobody. And then recently I rewatched it with my children, and of course, I watched them being Scarlett O'Hara, but I was seeing all sorts of other things I hadn't noticed. Sure. So, you know, I'm talking about very old movies now because I suppose I am drawn towards the classics, but these movies are literally part of my history, my landscape.
You can put a date on how you fell in love with movies, but can you put a date on when you fell in love with television?
I think, well, the first show that had a really huge impact on my generation was Monty Python. You know, so Monty Python came along and it was like, what? What the hell is going on here? You know, it was so anarchic. It was so, you know, exactly, you know, it was so kind of mad, and they cut it in funny ways, this, that, and the other. And I remember thinking, that is really exciting. You know, there is something very, very, very exciting about that.
I wish to complain about this parrot, what I purchased not half an hour ago from this very boutique.
Oh yes, the Norwegian blue. What's wrong with it?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it, my lad. It's dead. That's what's wrong with it.
No, it's resting, look.
And the humour, which sometimes worked and sometimes didn't work, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So they took risks.
All right, then. If it's resting, I'll wake it up. Hello, Polly! I've got a nice fresh cuttlefish for you if you wake up, Mr. Polly Parrot.
There, he moved.
No, he didn't. That was you pushing the cage.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
There were all sorts of wonderful long-running soaps, like there was one called The Forsyte Saga, you know, Bouquet of Barbed Wire. By the way, I've seen these recently, they're terrible, but at the time I thought they were really brilliant. I thought they were works of genius. So, you know, and then, of course, then there were the more kind of, you know, the more worthy ones. So, for example, like Heimat or Berlin Alexanderplatz, or, you know, the foreign ones came to England earlier on as well. And then you saw this very, very sophisticated kind of storytelling. A lot of it came from Europe, actually, back to England rather than the other way around, although the English like to think they invented television, you know.
But they took their revenge.
They did.
Since then.
Yeah, they did.
And there is something you say about great art, which is it doesn't deny complicated, touchy subjects.
Yeah.
Are there been times when you were watching a movie or a TV series where you thought, well, that's ballsy?
You know, we were talking about Happy Valley, weren't we? You
Yeah.
know, a television series just been on, and in it there is a female policewoman and her alcoholic sister.
I'm Catherine, by the way. I'm 47, I'm divorced, I live with my sister, who's a recovering heroin addict. I have 2 grown-up children, one dead, one who doesn't speak to me, and a grandson.
And, you know, this woman who's very attractive and walking around, but, you know, she has to be a man, you know, in a way. You know, she's a woman in a man's world. And so she is behaving and reacting to things in a very masculine way. She's very unself-conscious. She's running up a road, you know, she's not thinking in a kind of Angelina Jolie type way about what she might look like or how she might sound. There's none of that, you know. Everything's hanging out and she's crying and her mascara's running and she's saying things which clearly to her are very, very painful. And you think, yeah, OK, I'd like to be a bit more like that. You know?
Which is a kind of a very brutal truth.
Yes.
Is it what you are looking for in a... I'm always going to say in a movie or TV series, but basically in art
I think
form.
in anything. Well, I think you know there are different. You know, there are different stories which need different treatments.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that if you don't hit the truth, it doesn't resonate.
Did watching TV series and long-length fiction inspire you in the writing of this choral novel?
No, I think that we've become much more sophisticated, actually, at watching series. And actually, when I was thinking about writing, I was thinking, you know, I don't just want to tell us a beginning, middle, and an end, because now I know we can chop and change and put things here and move timelines. And, you know, as viewers, as audiences now, we're very sophisticated. We're used to that because of television.
In a way, it's like saying that television educated us.
I think, well, me, yeah. I think I learned a lot from television.
Do you watch movies and TV series differently?
Yes, I think I do. I think there's something about watching a cinema, particularly if you go into a theatre, you know, so it's dark, you're with other people, you know, it is a kind of experience that there's, you know, the curtain goes up, the lights come down, you know, there's almost, you're preparing yourself for that experience. Whereas if you're watching a television series, you tend to be at home, you've got your feet up, you know, the dogs jumping all over you, the children want dinner. It's a very different experience somehow. But I have to say I'm a sad person because I watch so much television. I think television now is, dare I say this, often better than movies.
You can say this.
Can I say that?
Oh yeah, twice. Do it again. Et bonne nouvelle pour cette amoureuse de série, son roman L'improbabilité de l'amour sera prochainement adapté à la télévision.
Excellent.